After 11 long weeks, Demon Slayer Season 3 has come to an end. But what do I think about it? Yo, what's good, it's your boy the Views, and heavy spoilers for Demon Slayer Season 3 Episode 11, you have been warned. Because this is the final episode of Season 3, I'll just talk about the good, the bad, and the downright ugly of this episode. Let's talk about the good. I love the scene where Tokito throws Tanjiro his new improved sword. If this was shown in the theatre, I'm sure this moment would have had the entire audience just cheering and screaming and hooting. It's being Tokito to be the one to do it was just really impactful and had a lot of emotion behind it. Just shows you how far Tokito has come as a character. He starts out in the season as this cold, stoic dude. Tanjiro gives his words of wisdom, and Tanjiro's words triggers memories, reminding Tokito of why he's doing what he's doing and giving him a better sense of direction. And it all came beautifully together into this one moment of him throwing the sword to our boy Tanjiro. As well as that, the Tanjiro and Nezuko moment was very heartbreaking and difficult to watch. I think this is the best scene of Demon Slayer so far. As an anime only, it blew me away. So Tanjiro has to make this choice. Does he go after the main demon body, or does he try and protect Nezuko? I think I said this in a video before, but this might be one of the most gruesome looking seasons of Demon Slayer. There's so much blood, gore, and just really distressing scenes. The artists and animators did a fantastic job portraying Tanjiro in this moment. The fear, the worry, my gosh, you really felt it. It reminded me of this moment from Naruto Shippuden where he had this panic attack over Sasuke in the Kage-sama arc. I don't think we've seen our boy Tanjiro panic like this. It's really sad to see. And you know what's worse than this moment? Seeing Nezuko shrink into a little girl and just watch her slowly fade away into nothing. But the moment where she kicks Tanjiro and she does the little fist thing, symbolizing that she doesn't want Tanjiro to give up and to keep fighting, and she gives him a little wink, is what gave Tanjiro all the confidence that he needed to go do what he needed to do. But man, it was sad. I knew she wasn't gonna die because I don't think the writers would allow something like this to happen. Whatever happens in the anime going forward, I know for a fact that these two will definitely live to the end. I mean, it's a shonen for crying out loud. And we get a gorgeous sequence of Tanjiro slicing the demon off, and as he's breaking down crying, mourning Nezuko, we get this beautiful 360 pan around of Tanjiro and these three dudes, and then you see Nezuko just standing in front of him. I knew she wasn't gonna die, it was a bit too obvious. But OMG BBG, I did not expect her to start talking. I honestly thought they would save this moment for the very final season. This might be the first time Demon Slayer has actually blown my mind and really shocked me. Even with her just walking around in the sunlight was surprising enough, but her talking, oh wow. But there's something oddly beautiful yet creepy at the same time with this moment. I think because Nezuko is still a demon, and just her vacant eyes widening up so much, it was a nice scene, but it made my skin crawl a little bit. Something about it just seemed so unnatural. It honestly reminded me of the scene from Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, where Morgan Moonscar says thank you to the Scooby Gang, and from one shot to another, I was not expecting to see Muzan's backstory told so early. I thought they would keep that till the final arc of Demon Slayer, because Muzan has been portrayed as this very mysterious character, always in the shadows, always plotting and scheming, but now we finally find out what he truly wants and his goals and motives. That entire sequence of him taking out those ladies in his room, oh my gosh man, that was just so gnarly, dude. But at the same time, I laughed out loud when he just casually walks out of the room like it was nothing. We flash back 1,000 years ago to when he was a 20-year-old, and the moment we see him in this flashback, I had a huge theory. The way he's portrayed and the way people treat him in this flashback, you get the sense that he is a pretty important man. If you don't want to hear this theory of mine, then just skip ahead on the timestamps. I just couldn't stop thinking about the master of the Demon Slayers. Just like Muzan in this flashback, he's also quite ill and has to rely on others to help him. I don't know, dude, they do seem very similar. Are they somewhat related? Maybe some distant cousins, or maybe the master is like a descendant of his? But Muzan gets sick and tired of the doctors failing at trying to cure his disease, and he kills them. It's not just the fact that he kills them that makes it bad, but the fact that he tells the doctor man death is all that he deserves is kind of a messed up thing to tell someone who's trying to help you, especially when the doctor's medicine ended up working and he couldn't walk into the sunlight. So I'm guessing the doctor gave him some sort of demon juice, but it becomes a demon, he starts consuming humans and he gets even stronger and more powerful. Muzan might actually be one of the first anime villains I've seen in a long time, who's just purely evil for the sake of being evil. He's a very selfish person who only wants to get what he wants to get and doesn't care who or what gets in his way. I'm a little bit mixed about his backstory. On one hand, I do like him just being evil for the sake of being evil, but at the same time, would have loved to have seen a bit more depth and maybe more of a grey side to him. It's just the way they portray the backstory. It just seemed like this is it, this is all we're gonna get on Muzan's backstory and his goals, but maybe they are purposely not showing everything in his past, so I'm gonna keep an open mind out for that. But now let's talk about the bad. The entire backstory of the main demon body was extremely disappointing, and it happened very quickly. It was barely a minute long. So he was once a human who committed a lot of crimes. I do like the whole idea of him not being able to control his urges to kill, but is that of his own free will, or is someone trying to frame him and make him look like a bad person? Then we quickly cut to him being executed, but then Muzan saves him, and then he starts to wreak havoc, and it ends. And I feel like the demons of this season, in terms of their motives and backstories, have all been very underwhelming. I think the writers wanted to focus more on our heroes than the villains of this season. Also, the comedic moments in this episode were not really good in certain areas. To be honest, they were a little bit cringy at times, but I do understand these comedic moments. They want to balance out the comedy with the dark aspects of this episode. But overall, Demon Slayer Season 3 Episode 11 has been a pretty damn amazing episode. It's the best episode of the season so far, and possibly my favorite episode of Demon Slayer. This gets a 10 out of 10 and an A star from me. I'm not the only one who loved this episode. A lot of fans have been praising this episode left, right, and center, and it's nice to see it. Despite some of the episodes in the past getting some negative reviews and comments from Twitter, it's good to see that the majority of Demon Slayer fans loved what they were seeing in this episode. But despite all that, there are those who still don't really like Season 3 as a whole. In fact, some people have been very disappointed with Season 3 and called it the worst season of Demon Slayer. Personally, I do prefer this season more than the Entertainment District Season 2. Very emotional in areas, but I feel like Season 2 had more hyped, talked about moments. But hey, you can't please everyone. But what do you think about the final episode of Season 3 and this season overall? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Tell me. Like this video, subscribe for more anime reactions, reviews, comparisons, breakdowns, rankings, and more. But thank you for watching, and as always, a boy did review, signing out.